we have 2, 1, 3. How steep is it? We're comparing delta y and delta x. Previously, we have looked at dimensions of slope triangles to measure the steepness of a line. Today, we'll look at the idea of using stairs to help better explain this. During this lesson, some focus questions. How can we tell if a slope is positive or negative? What makes a line steeper? What makes a line less steep? And what does a line with the slope of 0 look like? We look at problem 225. One of the ways to best think about slope is going to be thinking about it in terms of stairs, if you're climbing up stairs. So if we're climbing upstairs, we're looking at which one of these is going to be the steepest. The one that's going up the fastest is going to be B. So B would be the steepest one. And which one would be the less steep would be C, because as you see, C, we're slowly going up. That line is slowly going up. So that would be the least steep one for C. Now, if we look at line D is the one that is going down from left to right. Since it's going down from left to right, when I draw my slope triangle, I am, instead of going up 2, I'm going down 2. So the way this represents is I have the change in y is equal to -2 there. So -2. All right. We're going to find the slope of every line now. I'll make A here in purple. So if I look, change in y is 1, change in x is 1. So the slope there for A, slope of A is 1. Let's make B here green. So B is green. If I look, I am going up 5, going right 1. So 5 over 1, or 5 is the slope of B. And let's go black for C. C here, I am going up 1. We're going over 2, so 1/2 is the slope of C. And lastly, we'll look at D. For D, we already said the change in y is -2. And if we look here, it does go over 5. So the slope for D is -2 divided by 5, or -2 fifths. Okay? That's how we find the slopes of those 4 graphs. If we look at 26 here, we are going to find the steepest lines. Which one is steeper, line B or C? So if I'm figuring this out, I should draw myself those triangles. So there's my B one. If I see my slope for B, I am going up 3 over 2, so that is the slope for B, compared to C, where in C, I am going up 2 over 3. So 2/3 is my slope for C. If I know that 3/2 is greater than 2/3, we would know that line B has the steeper slope. It also makes sense because B is going up faster than C is, if we look at the lines there. All right, what I want you to do now is pause this video and look at the slopes for 2226 and match them up correctly with your work there. I will give you some time to do this, so please pause the video now. Please pause the video. All right, if we see, I drew the slope triangles here and I matched them up correctly there. So that would be C. Now if we look at D, if I view from the left to the right, which direction would align with the slope of -3 dividing by 5 point. And remember that if I have a negative value, it is pointing down. So if I have a negative slope, it is pointing down. So we know that that will be pointing down.